Okie dokie. Welcome back, everybody, to Reading Held Hostage. My name's Blue, and I love to read.
And my name's Justin, and she almost forgot that.
I did forget it. You do your part that you don't like to read.
I don't like to read.
Okay, so Justin, for our opener today, we've only discussed the first half of the book.
Yes.
And I was just thinking, like, as a human being, say I didn't have any mental illness, I wouldn't want to be immortal. That sounds fucking awful.
Yeah.
And everybody in the book who is immortal is like, this shit rocks.
This shit's lit.
So, I don't know, I guess, what are your views on immortality and that goofy little...
It's definitely worse if it's not, like, a societally accepted type thing.
What do you mean?
So, like, when it's just, I'm immortal and nobody else knows. Mm-hmm. Because then you gotta fucking, like, hide your immortality and, like, what they do where they jump between cities and stuff.
Yeah.
Every couple years. Like, that'd be a real pain.
Would you want to be immortal?
Oh, absolutely.
Say you didn't have any mental illness.
Just, absolutely not.
No, I wouldn't want to either. And especially, like, they don't sleep.
Yeah.
I love sleeping.
Yeah,
I love
best.
eating food. I don't know. It just interests me because during this time period, there was, like, two different things going on. One of them was, like, the immortal vampire thing, and then the other one was, like, the world's ending dystopia.
Yeah.
I tended more towards the dystopia side.
Mm-hmm.
But there were a lot of folks who were like, wow, it'd be really nice to be immortal. And Bella eventually just goes, yeah, turn me, after she's known him for, like, 6 months. Mm-hmm. I've known you for, like, 8 years.
Yeah.
What, 9 maybe?
Yeah.
I don't know. I just don't think that.
It might be, humans are not meant to be infinite.
No, my freaking bones hurt, dude.
Yeah.
I can't bend down.
Like, even if you have, like, if you're just locked into an age.
Yeah.
Like, you're still, like, your mental health is not meant to be infinite.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just something that always pisses me off is that people are like, I think if I could have, like, the human aspects of me, like being able to sleep and eat and all that kind of stuff, I would be okay with living longer if I stopped aging and my bones didn't hurt.
Yeah. If you were, like, 60, but, like, still how you are now.
Well, maybe not me in particular with my body, but yeah. I don't know. It's just something that always interests me because people just, like, get so... They just want to be immortal, and I just never got that.
Yeah. There's not enough stuff to do.
No. And even nowadays, when there's so much... Can you imagine being immortal? Like, well, we're about to find out, but Carlisle... Oh, we did last round. Carlisle's 360.
Yeah.
You know how many types of medicine he's had to learn and relearn? Cause we listened to Sawbones by the McElroys.
Shout out.
Well, and can you imagine being a physician at 360 years old? That means he only in the last 100 years learned that washing his hands was a good idea.
Yeah.
And that smelling bad didn't make people sick.
Yeah. He also learned that germs existed.
Yeah. We went from the miasma theory to the germ theory.
Yeah. And that bleeding people,
ironically,
is not a good way to do things.
Actually, Carlisle never drank. He's never drank human blood.
Okay.
I
thought you had to turn people.
I guess you don't have to drink it. You have to give him a bite.
Okay.
Like how a snake would.
Do you think he milks himself like a snake?
No, I don't think that.
And injects that into people?
No, I don't. Well, what would it be? Vampire anti-venom? Okay, anyways. Let's hippity hop.
Do you think he's tried to make an anti-venom?
What's his face? Carlisle?
Yeah.
No, I don't think so.
Because that'd be interesting. That'd be a cool...
Well, we'll learn at the end of the book. Somebody gets bit. I won't say who. And we'll learn what they do then. But before we hop into it, and I want you to give me a quick recap next time of the first 13 chapters, I want to point out again the Native American missing and endangered Indigenous women websites that I have. Just go check them out. It's a huge issue that a lot of Indigenous Native women are often not reported for their crimes.
Indigenous people in general, but majority women.
Women and girls. And just so everybody knows, I'm a weird little stickler about if you're over the age of 18, I'll call you a woman or a man.
Yeah.
Also want to point out, just because we're so new, I won't do the shout out stuff at the beginning all the time, but follow us on Twitter, ReadingHostage. Subscribe and follow us on the YouTube at ReadingHeldHostage. What, are you making fun of me?
No,
okay.
I'm just nodding along.
Okay, I just saw your head move. I thought you were making fun of me.
No.
Send us over an email and let us know what you want us to read. I think after we do the Twilights, I'm feeling Hunger Games Divergent-y.
Ooh, Maze Runner would be good.
Oh my God.
That has some dumb shit in it.
I hate the Maze Runner. Yeah, I would like that a lot. But you can shoot us over an email at readingheldhostage@gmail.com. And don't forget to leave us a review, 0 or 5. Those are the rules.
Yeah.
Sorry, we don't make them. We just follow them.
Yeah, no, 1 through 4s.
Yep. We don't allow those. Yeah. Okay, Justin, can you give me a quick recap of epilogue, then chapters 1 through 13?
I hate epilogues so much. They make me yawn.
Are you yawning during our Mormon Twilight Warrior Cats podcast thus far?
I'm asleep now. I'm going to bed. I actually don't want to do this.
No, it's too late. You're here. You're done. But yeah, so basically, I think we're releasing these like back to back, so we don't have to do a big in-depth
But behind the scenes, it's been like
a week and a half
since we've recorded.
And I've already started New Moon.
Yeah, and I don't remember anything really. That the car accident happened.
Okay, that's the same thing he said last time.
The scene where he went like, "Oh, I'm so big and tough," happened.
Yeah, where he's sparkly.
Yeah.
We're currently at Edward's family's house.
Okay.
Bella's being introduced, and actually we have a lot of like...
Is this a scene where she's like, "We made you a salad because you're Italian," and she's like, "Oh, I'm good." And the woman
Rosalie
just
drops
throws it on the floor.
Yeah, that would be the scene.
Fuck you.
That's the movie scene. That actually doesn't happen in the book. But yeah, Justin, you're right. But now we're going to hear Edward's story as we start out chapter 14.
Oh, no thanks.
Do you remember... You shush. Do you remember anything about Edward's story?
No, I
From the movies or
He was Spanish or French and...
No, he's from Chicago.
Really?
Yeah, so Edwards was born in Chicago in 1901, and he was dying of the Spanish influenza in 1918, which actually killed more people than World War I.
Yeah.
Just as a...
fun little tidbit.
Fun little fact. And Carlisle found him dying in the hospital. His parents had already passed at that point, and Carlisle was always like the most human and compassionate of the vampires.
Yeah.
But in reality, he acted from loneliness because he wanted, like, a companion. He fully views Edward as his son. And then after he changed Edward, he very quickly found Esme afterwards. She had fallen from a cliff and then they brought her to a morgue because, again, they didn't know anything and she was still alive. And then Rosalie was brought on next to their group, and Carlisle was hoping that Edward and her would become mates, but eventually...
Wait, like buds or mates?
No, like mates, like sexual partners.
Okay.
Because Esme and Carlisle, like, they're two peas in a pod. Like, there's nobody else for them. And Rosalie and Edward always kind of just viewed each other as siblings. They were brother and sister. And eventually, when Rosalie was hunting 2 years later, she found Emmett, who had been mauled by a bear. And she wanted to change him. She just saw something in his face. but she was worried that she would kill him, so she carried him 100 miles back for Carlisle to do it. Emmett and Rosalie sometimes live away from the group as like a married couple, but the younger they pretend to be when they join or when they start somewhere, like being in high school, the longer they can stay in that place. Alice and Jasper are very interesting vampires because they both ended up developing a conscience by themselves.
Okay, so they weren't part of the little vegetarian club.
No, they joined the vegetarian club. I would actually argue that Alice didn't have a conscience herself because she saw in the future that she was going to join this vegetarian family and just was a vegetarian. I'm like, well, she didn't develop a conscience by herself.
She saw into the future and was like, I'll just do that now.
Yeah, so anyways. Alice can see into the future, and Jasper can control emotions. So they're both, like, out of all of them, the special strengths everybody have is Carlisle's really compassionate and, like, kind of the most human.
That's his superpower?
It's like a trait, like his most endearing trait.
Okay.
Esme is just, like, a really powerful mother figure. Like, she loves heavily, and we'll get into that. Emmett, strong. Rosalie's just absolutely gorgeous, like drop dead.
Yeah.
Alice can see in the future, and Jasper can do the emotion thing, and Edward can read other people's minds, except for Bella's.
He can do the worm.
Something I haven't totally mentioned up to this point, and that I think makes it really funny for the rest, is that vampires, like, kissing other vampires sounds like porcelain. Being like a glass hitting another glass.
Like someone's doing cheers.
Yeah, and eventually, like, when they fight, like if vampires fight, it sounds like boulders because they're like, their skin is made like hard as rock.
Yeah.
So it sounds like boulders. So I think that's extra funny to think of them like doing sex.
And it's just like two rocks. Like
two rocks hitting each other or glasses breaking. Super like on the DL.
Yeah. There's no sneaking with that. Like,
no. There's no shh, let's be quiet. Especially when they all have like above human hearing and all that kinds of stuff. So I think I didn't mention that because I don't know. It's just funny. But there are they have like one other vegetarian family in a small town in Alaska. They're the Denali family. They're in Denali. They're not super important right now. Other vampires are typically nomads, just vibing.
Just killing people.
Yeah.
Just killing people and vibing.
Mm-hmm. But like they're usually in like smaller groups.
Yeah.
Alice doesn't really remember her human story at all. And as they're talking, like, okay, Justin, I lied. Please forgive me.
No.
They're not at their house yet. They're not at the Collins house yet. This is directly after he'd had his temper tantrum and showed that he was all sparkly. Will you forgive me?
So I was right.
I mean, no, because I won't give you that one.
No, I was right.
No.
Because I said the temper tantrum stuff.
I refuse to give it to you.
That's too bad. I took it.
Give it back.
No.
I'm Edward. Give it back.
Give it back to me.
Anyway, so they're just like at the house right now.
I thought they were doing the temper tantrum.
No, this is after the temper tantrum.
Okay.
They're at Bella's house. Like they were driving home and he was telling her this story.
After the temper tantrum.
Yeah, after their temper tantrum. And yeah, so they're talking. Bella's tummy growls. He's like, can I join you in the house? And she's like, yeah. And he already knows where the key is and he unlocks the door.
Creepy.
Well, the next part's even worse because then he goes, yeah, I've spied on you before at night. He sees no problem with that.
Yeah, I spy on you at night. What's the problem?
He comes into her house almost every single night because she's interesting in her sleep. But she's only mad because he has heard her sleep talk and is worried that he has heard her sleep talk something inappropriate. And he's like, no, you mostly just talk about your mom. And also sometimes when it's rained, you're really restless. And she's like embarrassed, but she should be pissed.
Yeah, she should be like, okay, this is done.
Yeah.
We're done.
He has watched her sleep. Literally, he says every single night since, like, they first started talking again. No.
Yeah.
Like, he just sits there all night.
The police.
Yeah. Well, Charlie's the police, so.
Yikes.
But that makes me so uncomfortable because I was thinking about it, and you know how sometimes our cat Stinky will watch me sleep?
Oh, what he'll do is he'll just, like, sit like a dog and on my pillow before I get into bed and stare at you.
I don't like that, and he's a cat.
Yeah.
A cat that ideally doesn't want to kill me. Whereas
you never know that with cats.
I don't. But Edward has admitted that he wants to kill her.
Yeah.
Like, this pisses me off so much. Like, girl, be mad at him. It's okay to be mad. You can still love somebody and be mad at them. This, for me, would be a deal breaker.
Actually, no. You have to forgive everything.
She doesn't even forgive it because it's not even a problem to her.
Yeah.
She's just embarrassed that that Edward has heard her talk in her sleep. You talk in your sleep all the time.
Not addressing the why.
Yeah.
Why did you hear that?
You talk in your sleep this morning, actually, you looked at me and you were like, ×8.
×8.
And I was like, what? What's ×8? And you were like, what are you talking about? And I was like, all right, I'm done. So
I get really, like, gaslighty when I sleep.
You do. But I mean, Edward doesn't sleep, so his night activity is to watch his girlfriend, which I don't like. But then Charlie comes home and Edward, like, yeets himself upstairs so Charlie doesn't see her.
But, like, why watch her sleep when you can get a victory royale at the Tilted Towers?
That's a great question, Justin. Fortnite joke. And I mean,
Fortnite dab.
Mm-hmm. Victory Royale. Poggers.
Pog.
Yeah, so that's a great question. This book did come out in 2005.
Ooh, what video games?
What was popular? Halo?
Halo, and then the, like, old Call of Duties.
Yeah, and, like, I feel like fighting games, like Punching King.
I mean, like, your Katie would be off the charts. With the reaction time he has and the speed.
That's true. He's really fast. Did I mention that Edward's fast?
Yeah, he would have to get, like, a metal controller, though, so he doesn't just rip it apart on accident.
That's a good point. You know, now you're thinking like we should be thinking.
When like a gamer. Like a gamer.
Yeah, like an absolute Pogs gamer.
Yeah.
No, this is how I think when I read these books. I'm like...
You could be doing anything else.
No, but I'm also like, do they cry? Like, does their body produce tears?
Do they have liquids in their body?
That's my question. I need to know. Okay, anyways. Charlie comes home and he notices that she's like a little hyped up for how late it is. And he calls, I love this because you know how I talk all weird and Midwestern most of the time? He calls her keyed up.
What?
I don't know. That's like his version of like, oh, you got a lot of energy. Like, you know how I say piss and vinegar?
Yeah.
Like his version is keyed up. And I liked keyed up. I thought that was cute. Damn,
you revved. You need the key to rev it.
That's a good point.
That's what it is.
She goes to her room. Edward's waiting there. And she says, give me a human moment to get dressed. And then this is something, because she goes into the bathroom to she's looking for her PJs. All she has is like, you know, sweats and stuff, which is, I guess, what people sleep in.
Yeah.
And she goes, oh, nuts. I wish I should have brought my Victoria's Secrets silk pajama set that my mom bought me when I was 15 years old.
One, why? Two, another name brand.
Mm-hmm. Stephanie loves her name brands, bro.
Like,
if my mom bought me silk pajamas, I'd be like, are you good, girl? Like,
yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, we buy Christmas presents. Like, one of our Christmas presents is always a pair of pajamas. But one, they're comfortable. And
two, they're like the cute, ugly ones where it's like...
Yeah. I'm actually wearing a pair of them right now. But her mom, again, 15 years old. This just, to me, kind of shows how bad Renee is at parenting.
Yeah.
You don't buy your kid Victoria's Secret's pajamas. Like, silk pajamas. That's, like, a sexy thing.
Like the lingerie.
Well, just like one of those little cami tops. A
I don't know what
camisole. Okay, I'll Google cami for you.
Is it like the button-up one?
No.
Because like that'd be fine if it was
like this, babe.
If yeah.
A camisole.
If it was like the silk like dress shirt pajamas, you know?
Yeah.
That'd be cool, but
no, it's like a cami and like shorts, like booty shorts.
yeah. No.
I would be very uncomfortable with a parent buying me that personally.
Cuz like
just
I don't feel like people wear that for comfort.
I've heard they're pretty comfortable, but like I don't know. It just
I don't find silk very comfortable though.
Well, we know why.
We both have sensory issues.
Yeah. I don't like the touch of silk either, but
silk robes are good though.
Yeah.
They touch good.
But in this specific moment, you know that these pajamas are more like sexy than like comfortable because she's like, damn, like I should have had those because Edward's sleeping in my room. Well, Edward's observing me in my room tonight.
Yeah, she was like, oh, I won't need these.
Yeah. So then they're like in the bed together and
Stop.
I know.
He is 100 years older than her.
He's 104.
Ugh.
So he just like starts touching her like her arm and stuff and talks to her about how he's super excited to get close to her and how he's becoming desensitized to her smell. He talks that he's like never what?
I'm getting less sensitized to your fucking stank ass.
I mean, I wasn't gonna say it, Justin, but as somebody who's got a case of stank ass. I'm sorry, I meant stanky pits, not stanky butt. But he says he's never had like these emotions before. He says he hasn't really felt jealous and that he wasn't even jealous like at all in his life until Mike and all those boys started asking her out. And when they started asking her out,
the children
yeah, the little tiny baby boys.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Started asking her out, and I lied because that was actually the first night he started watching her. Again, he is 104 at this point.
It's so gross.
They keep talking. Sex gets insinuated, and it becomes awkward. But then she has a question about why they can read minds, and why like Alice can do all that. And apparently Carlisle has a theory that when they become, like when they're reborn into a vampire, their strongest human trait is brought with them into the next life. So Carlisle believes that Edward must have already been like very intuitive and sensitive to other people's thoughts.
It's an empath.
Oh my god.
I've killed Blue.
I like that. Edward the empath.
I'm just an empath.
I'm not like other girls.
I could just tell what you're feeling.
Oh, that hurt my heart. And that Alice must have been able to already see into the future, like where she as a human probably had like a lot of deja vu that actually happened. What?
Her super vampire power is seeing to the future. So she probably could see into the future.
I mean, there's not an easy way to explain like that one.
Well, it's just like, again, intuitive, but like for actions instead of feelings.
I really, really like Alice's backstory.
Yeah. Isn't hers like fucked up though?
Yeah, we'll get into it a little bit.
Okay.
And then if I want to do like a bonus episode, I might read the like tag-along book Stephanie made for the rest. Stephanie, she and I are on first name basis.
Steph.
Me and my girl Steph. Me and my adult woman Steph. She made a tag-along book where she goes through like everybody's backstories. I really like that one.
Yeah.
I don't know. That might be a bonus episode if I get energy.
Yeah.
They then talk about evolutions and how vampires are created. Edward's theory is that vampires are just like another step in a predator evolution, which is like, who cares?
As someone from 100 years ago, he doesn't believe in evolution.
No, he's also... I won't get into it. Yeah, as somebody they fucking didn't even believe... Okay, anyways. She asks about vampire...
Wait, Carlisle, like, could have known, what's his name? Galapagos Island guy.
Darwin?
Galapagos
Island guy. Yeah, I coulda.
The guy on the islands with the turtles.
No, birds.
Well, yeah, also turtles.
Yeah, but birds were his main.
But also turtles.
I mean, there's turtles there.
Yeah, turtles.
They're actually.
So I'm right.
Are we going to play this game the whole episode?
Yeah.
Okay, then you finish up.
I didn't read the book.
Because why?
I don't want to.
Because you can't read. That's what I thought.
Oh.
Okay, anyways, she asked about vampire marriage and if it's like the same for humans. Sex. This part's about sex.
They boning. They boning in this one, dog.
Was wondering about her and Edward and if they could ever have. They never say the word sex, but they're like, if we could ever. And then they drift off, and it's like, stop it! Just say something!
Yeah.
It makes it worse.
The implication is worse. Also, she's underage.
Yeah, well, by a lot compared to him.
Yes.
He says it wouldn't be able to happen because he'd probably kill her on accident. You ever ghost so fucking hard you kill your partner?
Oh my god.
Which is like, I watch a lot of true crime. Folks kill their partners sometimes. And it makes me really uncomfortable. And I like put like these in my brain. I'm like, Edward's a sociopath. But he's not. He's just a fucking teenager.
But also,
He's
like...
a vampire.
What? But also, what?
But Justin, what if I told you, don't worry, she's a virgin?
Oh, cool. The child's a virgin.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
That's something.
They then discuss that love is actually the most important thing to the both of them, and they fall asleep.
Yeah, not boning.
Well, love or very strong feelings should always be important in a sexual relationship.
Not really.
At that age.
Oh, at that age.
At that age,
just
absolutely.
Like, don't. Abstinence, but no one's doing that. So
I'm looking at Justin's face as he's trying to say these things, and he's so uncomfortable.
It's just like, I don't want to talk about children boning.
Then let's not. Let's go to the next chapter, 7:15. Oh, but we have to talk about children boning because apparently that's what this fucking book's about.
Oh, God.
She then wakes up. He's still staring at her in her bed. And apparently in her sleep, she said that she loved him. And he says that, like, this is the best part of his life now. He's like, it's breakfast time. And she just jokes like this, Justin. She puts her hands around her neck because Edward says it's breakfast time. Like, he's going to eat her blood. It's a pretty funny joke. Okay.
That got to you.
Yeah, I like it. But he gets all, like, whiny. And then he just, like, while she's protesting, flops her over her shoulder and takes her back down. And then during breakfast, he asks her to meet his family. They know everything about their relationship, and apparently they all took bets to see if he would bring her home, which is so fucking sadistic.
Yep.
She asks if Alice saw her coming, and he just, like, gets really uncomfortable and ignores that.
Also, none of these adults were like, hey, don't.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure they said something like that.
Did they say in the book? Because that's just like J.K. Rowling going, oh, Dumbledore's gay.
They did not say something like that in the book. He asked to be introduced to Charlie, because he's really old-fashioned. She ignores that.
Is it because he's 104 years old?
Yeah, it would be that reason. She gets dressed in a blue blouse and a long khaki skirt, which is, like, so hot. But to be fair,
cover those ankles, bitch.
In 2005, though, this would be the look. I'm imagining low-waisted khaki skirt with, like, one of those long blue shirts that has the lace on the bottom.
Oh, the Disney.
Yeah, Disney's a good vibe for that. This is weird. This gets very sexual. He says she looks indecent and tempting, but in, like, a horny way.
You look a indecent wench.
Well, and then she's like, oh my god, I look indecent. Should I change? And he goes, shall I explain how you're tempting me?
Oh, no.
And then his fingers trace slowly down her spine, his breath, like, on her skin, speeding up. And then her hands are limp. She feels lightheaded. And he tilts his head and touches his lips to her, and then she passes out. She's really giving me, like, anime vibes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's gross.
Yeah, I don't like any of that.
Yeah, we're just gonna skip past that. They drive to this like absolutely gorgeous house in the middle of the forest, which if you haven't seen the movies, at least Google the Cullens house because it is so pretty. I really like that house, and it's right on this beautiful river.
Is it a real house that they just like rented, or?
I don't know. Let's see. Cullens house, Twilight. Oh my God, Cullen house, Twilight, Airbnb. Oh my God. Oh my God.
What?
Oh my God.
Wait.
Oh my God, you can go there. Oh my gosh.
Okay, guys, we're starting a Patreon right now so we can
Get
afford...
us to the Twilight house.
Yes.
Please.
Ugh.
Oh, it's so pretty. The only thing is, in the book, the house is very white, and it's like they weren't gonna paint a whole house just for because the first movie had like a trash budget. Like
yeah.
No, I mean you can tell for one. That doesn't mean I don't love them, but the budget was basura. So
yeah. How did they get the actors though?
Because none of them were famous by then.
Yeah, but like
I think what's her name? The lesbian.
The lesbian.
Who plays Bella?
The lesbian plays Bella.
You know what I'm talking about. What's her real freaking name?
Nope, I'm gonna let you struggle.
What's her human name?
The lesbian?
Stop. What's her real person name? Dude, we've only gotten through one chapter thus far. What's her freaking name? Bella from Twilight. Actor. Kristen Stewart! Ugh. Okay. Don't play that game with me. You know I'm bad at actors and actresses' names. Oh, she's gorgeous.
She is.
She and Edward, I think, were the most famous of all of them at this point. Anyways.
Because he was in Harry Potter at this point already.
I think, yeah.
Yeah. And she was in Catch That Kid, the best go-kart movie there's ever been.
Are there multiple go-kart movies?
I bet.
I wouldn't know. Immediately inside the house are Dr. Cullen and his wife, Esme. And this is the way they describe Esme is that she's small, slender, yet less angular and more rounded than the others. And I just want you to keep that in mind.
What geometry lesson are we doing right now?
I don't know, but basically she's saying she's got a little bit more of my body type than like teeny tiny body types.
Who has this body type again?
Esme. And I want you to keep that in mind because I'm going to talk about Esme's backstory and it's going to piss us both off.
Oh no.
They're excited to meet her. Esme's like incredibly kind. Alice and Jasper come down, they meet her, and Jasper uses his comfort powers to make her feel a little bit okay, but he's also staying like further away from her.
Yeah.
Based on I know his backstory, and he is having the most trouble with the vegetarian thing.
What is his backstory?
He's the Confederate.
Oh God. Why? She could have made him, like...
Yeah.
There's two sides to that war.
Yep.
And one is bad.
Well, he was a bad guy in the war.
One is bad and wrong.
Mm-hmm. The South.
Yes.
I'm kidding. Of course they're bad. Yeah.
And it's... Oh my God. What's the new Fantastic Beasts movie? You know, where they... Okay.
I do know. Okay. I do know this. Don't talk about it. No, we're not doing Harry Potter right now.
I just want to talk about that one thing.
Okay, go quick.
Okay, so in that movie, the bad guy, I forget his name.
Grindelwald.
Yeah, Grindelwald.
I think I'm right.
I bet you are, because I didn't say it at all. He wants to stop World War II and the atrocities associated. That's the plot of the movie, and they're trying to stop him because it would expose wizards.
Boo-hoo.
The good guys are trying to stop the person that's stopping the Holocaust.
Great plot. Actually, better.
Good plot.
Not as good as Twilight.
Good plot.
Not as good as Twilight.
Oh my God, that pisses me off so much.
I know it does. They have a big piano. Edward plays the piano. He's really good at it. Emmett and Rosalie don't show up, but Edward says that Emmett really likes her, but Rosalie is having a really hard time because Bella's human, and she has the hardest time with being a vampire. Esme is absolutely ecstatic because Edward's finally in love, and she just is so happy to see her son happy finally. You know, I mean, he was the first vampire made. Esme was the second. Like,
yeah,
they have the closest bond because she's his mother, ultimately.
Yeah.
He says, hey, just so you know, I'm going to be a little overbearingly protective, which is like, and you haven't been thus far?
Yeah, like, what has been the stalking?
You've been watching me overnight. Anyways, he goes, Alice saw some visitors coming, and she knows they want to meet the Cullens. They walk around, and she sees this absolutely beautiful cross, like a Jesus cross, a Jesus T.
A Jesus tee where it's just a t-shirt of Jesus on the wall.
And she's like, wow, this is really pretty. Like, the wood's really old. And she's like, yeah, it's from the 1630s. And she's like, wow, did Carlisle collect it? And he's like, no, it was carved by his father. So basically the gist is Carlisle is 362 years old, and he was born in the 1640s as the only son of a pastor. And during that time, they were burning a lot of people as witches and, you know, monsters, you know, back in the day, burning folks alive.
The mass murder, you know?
Yeah, so that was cool. But eventually when Carlisle was put in charge, he actually found some, like, real vampires. And one of them bit Carlisle. And Carlisle, like, hid under a sack of potatoes for 3 days, completely silent, until he changed so his father wouldn't burn him alive.
Ooh, cool.
Yeah, so this is when we're going to get a lot more storytelling.
Yeah.
So in chapter 16, they go into Carlisle's study, and Edward starts telling her the history of Carlisle and their family. They do also mention that every time Edward touches Bella, her heart kind of starts like she starts getting heart flutters.
Is it because he's a weird, stony, cold rock boy?
No, I think it's because she's really into him. But all the vampires can hear her heart get faster.
Cool.
How embarrassing would that be?
Yeah.
I don't even like it when my face flushes red. Like, ugh.
Well, hey, just so you know, everybody in the room knows that child is horned up. This is a bad episode.
Listen,
this is a bad episode.
You're wrapped up, but most of the books we're going to talk about, they're going to be kids.
Why? Why isn't the...
We can read actual adult novels, like Red Rising was really good.
Yeah, Red Rising was good, but the thing is, this does not need to happen.
No, it doesn't. You're correct.
It could have been, oh, she's 18. Like, that's the thing
They should have met in college. I actually read a really good Reddit post about it.
Yeah, that's the thing about fiction.
You can do that.
You can just do it.
If you're going to make it weirdly sexual, make them older.
Make them adults.
Make the content for an older audience.
Yes. Like, I said this last episode, I'm fine with, like, romance and, like, kissing and stuff like that happening in children's book. It's a part of life. Kids need to learn about it. They don't need to learn about sex from Twilight.
Definitely not from Twilight. I did read a book once where they were, like, getting hot and heavy, and it was a kid's book. I actually have it. We should read it, because it's fucking funny. It's, like, about mermaids. And they get all hot and heavy, and then they, like, don't talk about the sex part, and then they, like, wake up in the same bed, blah, 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 and then she's, like, pregnant. And I was like, well, if she's gonna get pregnant, clarify that they did, in fact, have sex.
That's what was, like... I don't know if it was like an urban legend or something, or like just a joke where like the couple goes to the doctor, like this really religious couple goes to the doctor, and they're like, we're not getting pregnant, we're sleeping together all the time. Like literally sleeping together. Literally sleeping next to each other, and that's it.
Yeah, but Twilight does have, because like I said, I tend to lean more towards the dystopian because there's a lot less of the, like the love stuff is a little bit more like emotional love stuff.
Yeah.
And Twilight in particular is a little bit more of the physical aspect, considering he does want to kill her.
Yeah.
So the next Hunger Games, you know how I feel.
Yeah.
There's not as much ickiness on that aspect. There's a lot of gore, though.
Yes.
You ready? Do you need a breath? Do you need a fiver?
Oh my god, this is bad.
Okay, let me do some backstory then. After Carlisle knew what he'd become, he tried to destroy himself by, trigger warning, committing suicide.
Jeez.
Eventually trying starvation. He just starved himself and moved to an area with like no people, which back in the 1600s was possible.
Yeah, it was easy. You just found the woods and went into them.
Yeah. So there were less temptation there, and then one day, like, a herd of deer passed them, and he just, like his body took over, and he started murdering a deer.
Yeah.
And he realized, like, that was an alternative, and he could drink deer blood or animal blood. He decided to swim to France because they don't need to breathe, and Bella goes, "What? You don't need to breathe?" And he's like, "You said you wouldn't interrupt anymore," and puts his finger on her mouth, and it's like, "Stop touching her!
Shut the fuck up!"
And he says it's more like a habit to breathe, but they like really like their sense of smell, so without breathing they can't smell, obviously.
Okay.
So he giggles and wonders at what point will something be too much for her, and she'll stop believing him and leave. But anyways.
Okay, wait. She knows they're vampires.
Yeah.
Why, at this point, would she just be like, you know what? Bullshit.
I think the
I'm
breathing
out.
thing kind of freaked her out.
They're like,
I know,
at that
I
point,
know.
If someone proves to me, like, something crazy like that, and then they're telling me their life story, I'm just gonna go with it.
Yeah, it's happened. Yeah. Carlisle swims to France and studies all kinds of things. And then it takes him like 200 years to perfect his self-control. And eventually he goes to Italy, finds another group, chills with them for a bit. They're still there, but like they kept trying to pressure him into drinking human blood. So he leaves. He goes to the New World and practices medicine.
Peer pressure's never good, guys.
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
He knew he always wanted to create his own family, and that's when he found Edward. And Edward has almost always stayed with Carlisle since then.
Wait, where is Edward from?
Edward's from Chicago.
Was Chicago around then?
In 1901.
Oh, 1901. I thought it was 1801.
No, 1901. I think they had already reversed the Chicago River by that point.
Oh, okay.
Look that up. That's actually really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Edward's almost always stayed with Carlisle, but he did have, like, a typical bout of rebellion after, like, 10 years.
What? These teens.
These teens going around murdering humans. He's surprised and a little peeved that doesn't repulse Bella. He clarifies that he only hurt men, particular, and that he did hurt others, but his conscience always got the best of him. They then go to his room. He's got all kinds of CDs. He's relieved that she finally knows
CDs?
It's 2005.
I guess so, but like, he lived through the golden age of vinyl.
I think if he had CDs and somebody showed up at their house, that would give away like the age. Because it wasn't too popular to collect vinyls back then for somebody his age.
Yeah, I guess so. But also, who's coming...
to the Cullens house.
To the Cullens house.
Yeah. She's like joking with him and she's like, "You're not as scary as he looks." And then he growls. "Justin, can you growl for me?" But it's a low sound in the back of your throat.
Okay, so...
Do that again, please. Growl.
Chicago was established in 1833.
1833. I think they reversed the rivers in the 50s. He like gets all weird and animalistic. His lips curl back over his teeth, which, like, our lips don't really do that like gorillas do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, where they actually bare their teeth.
He crouches and then tense like a lion. Then he grabs her and puts her in like a iron grab on a ball on his chest.
Oh shit! The triangle headlock.
She's gone.
She's tapping.
And then Alice and Jasper come in and make sure he didn't kill Bella.
Cool move. Cool thing that you have to do that.
Yep. They also came in because Alice saw a storm coming and Emmett wanted to play basketball. Basketball.
This is my basketball.
Baseball, because vampires like baseball. It's the American pastime, baby!
What is the baseball song from...
The basketball song?
No, the baseball song from...
I don't dance.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
High School Musical. Bam. Got there.
There you go.
Got there.
So, we're at the baseball scene. And if you don't watch Twilight, you're missing out.
Blue. Okay.
This
I'm going to
scene is
give
the
you
best scene.
a little behind the scenes. Blue wants you to go fucking watch the baseball scene right now.
I'm not
if you
kidding.
Haven't seen
Go
it.
watch it.
It's
absolute magic.
She might have put it in the bio.
Ooh, that's a good idea.
No, I'm not giving you the...
You just did. I make the bios. Chapter 17, Edward drops her off, and before they can get out, they see Jacob and Billy Black are there, and Edward again growls. You know what? Actually, if any men are watching our podcast that feel like they can growl us this sentence, "This is crossing the line," please freaking tweet it at me or something. Send it in a DM. I need to know what email. I need to know what this sounds like.
What is the line?
This is crossing the line.
This is crossing the line.
I like that.
yeah, your snorting really gives it away.
Yeah. She says, "Let me deal with this," and he says, like, "Be careful because the child doesn't know." She's like, "Jacob is not that much younger than me," Bella says.
"But you're a child." And
then he grins at her and goes, "I know." Like, is he into the fact that she's younger than him?
Oh, God.
That's what this line made me feel like.
That's 100% what that line means.
Yeah. Okay, so he heads out, and he says he's going to come by to pick her up later and introduce himself to Charlie. Billy is staring at Bella with, like, a lot of intensity. Jake doesn't notice this. And apparently they came by to drop off one of the other people's on the reservation, Harry Clearwater's fish fry. Nice. Which is funny because I love when something like this happens. It's so, like, normal. When he was just talking about being, like, a vampire from the 1600s. Yeah. It's like, "Hey, I have some fish fry here for you.
I'm an immortal vampire from Chicago, which was established in...
I got some fish fry for you." Billy sends Jacob out to the car on false pretenses, and then him and Bella have, like, a tense talk.
A fence talk. They talked about fences.
Yeah.
Do you like dog ear or picket fence?
Yeah. What do you think about the price of wood regarding fences nowadays?
Yeah. How many feet between posts do you prefer?
He's trying to warn her. They're like talking in riddles at this point because he's trying to warn her about the fact that they're vampires and
without
that it's
telling her.
Without giving it away. And she's like, "I know a lot more than you think." And he's like, "Oh, okay.
I know a lot more than you do, boomer."
"Okay, boomer, get out of here." And then he leaves. Jessica calls. Nobody cares about that. Charlie gets home and she tells him about Edward. And I love him. He's just such a funny dad. He just goes quiet and drops his fork. This is like the first
5-second rule. Get that up.
This is like the first time his daughter is like talking to him, like, for real. And he's like asking questions. "Isn't he too old for you?" "Charlie, yes." The correct answer is yes.
Like, even, what is his disguise? An 8, like...
No, he's 17. He's 17? The same grade as her.
Okay. So, but also, everybody at the school is like, that's a 20-year-old.
Yeah. But Charlie's such a sweet, good dad to Bella. Like, he trusts her. Edward drives this big-ass Jeep around. And Bella's trying to, like...
Edward?
Yeah.
What?
It's Emmett's Jeep.
What about his Volvo?
I know. Justin, give me your hand. It'll be okay.
No, it's not going to be okay. Where is it in the shop? Is it hurt?
No, baby. The Volvo's going to come back. I promise. Okay? They're going off-roading, and you know the Volvo. She's too precious. She can't handle that.
The suspension is just not built for off-roading.
Speaking of off-roading, Bella gets in the car, and she's got this, like, fucking weird-ass harness around her, and Edward's like, "Can you not even put that on?" But it's like an off-roading harness, which if you've seen one of those, I would be confused.
Harness? Yeah, they're not easy to put on.
No, it's really confusing.
Especially if you've never seen one before.
Yeah. Okay, trigger warning because some weird hungry horny's coming up.
Oh, no.
They drive half the way, but then Edward has to run her the other halfway, and I wrote uncomfy cringe. She is scared to ride him, and he says he's going to have to tamper with her memory.
Excuse me?
And then he just, like, kisses her and stuff, and I write, "But this is really icky," and they end up fighting over dumb shit because he is a dick. So I couldn't get into it, but this scene, he's like, "Bella..." He's, like, getting close to her, and he's like, "Are you scared of driving or riding on my back now?"
"Are you scared of me?"
They're at this huge clearing, and she's like, "Wow, the baseball field's, like, a lot larger than a normal one." And Esme grabs Bella. And Justin, remember how Esme was described?
Yeah. The only tiny baby amount of curvy.
Mm-hmm. So they're going to hang. She prefers to be the referee to keep her sweet kids honest. And she's like, Bella's like, you're so sweet. You're like a mom. And then she goes, I could never get over my mothering instincts. Did Edward tell you I lost a child? He's my first and only baby. He died a few days after he was born. And that is why she jumped off the cliff.
Oh my God.
So the reason Esme is slightly more curvy is because she gave birth to a baby who passed away 2 days after.
So and then it's her baby weight.
She's constantly 2 days post-mortem.
Post-mortem?
You know what I mean. Post-baby.
Post-baby.
I can't remember. But the absolute pissiness that it made me that they had the balls to describe Esme as...
Nope, I mean, not they. Our good friend Steph.
Mm-hmm, me and Steph. And there's nothing wrong with being large. And Esme's not even large. But the fact that they made it clear that Esme's the one who's got any sort of curve on her. And she is 2 days post having a fucking baby in the 1920s.
Yeah.
When they didn't do shit for mothers back then.
No.
She killed herself. That's what she did. She threw herself off a cliff. And that's how...
Postpartum depression.
Yeah. Postpartum is the word I was thinking of. Thank you. And...
Well, that's loss of a child, too. Like, that's not just postpartum.
No, yeah.
Yeah, but it's... What the hell, dude?
Yeah. So that's something that I noticed right off the bat. I was like, that's a weird description of Esme, considering the rest of them, they just
sticks, yeah.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with anybody's body, but the fact that Stephanie described Esme as that. And I get it, she's trying to make her a little bit more of a mother figure, give her a little bit more of a body. The
Pixar dumpy.
Yeah, pretty much. But it's also like, not all mothers look like that.
No.
Also, Esme could have been... Like, it just really pisses me off.
Well, it's the thing that she made everybody else's body type a stick.
Yeah, and then the one person who had a baby.
The only person that's above stick, which is barely above stick, is only because it was she's like just from a child.
Yeah, she just had a baby.
That's the only reason that she has weight on her.
Makes me so mad. You should have heard me ranting at work. I was furious. Because that's a pretty intense backstory. That's why she's got such intense motherness for her babies.
Yeah. It's bat phobia.
Yeah, it is.
100%. It's like...
And it's just a little bit, but it's enough
She had to explain why she had the weight. And
it's like enough that, if you were a kid reading this, that would somehow get into your brain. And it's like...
Oh, I can only be not stick thin if I
have baby.
If I have a
baby.
And
then kill myself.
And then kill myself.
Like, come on.
And then come back to life.
Yeah, so over that, they play fast baseball.
Oh, so fast.
Emmett bats first, but he's really strong. But Edward is very fast, so he catches the ball. And then they're playing and having fun when all of a sudden Alice gasps. And she's like, I didn't see. The others were traveling much quicker, and they heard them playing, and they want to join. And they're going to be there in less than 5 minutes. They don't even have time to run. And there are 3 of them, and the group has to protect Bella from them. Edward's really grumpy and down on himself, but then, at the end of this chapter, they just all look in one direction. That's Big Time Rush.
Oh, shit.
Do you want to go to chapter 18?
Honestly, can we talk about the VOC? The Vampire of Color?
Laurent?
Yeah.
Well, I haven't even introduced him yet.
Well, I want to talk about how bad it is.
Well, let me start first, and then you can. So we'll go into chapter 18. We'll be a little bit over an hour this time around. The group is 2 males and 1 female. Very different from the Cullens. They look very feral and cat-like. When they see the Cullens, they straighten up and look a little more like, I don't know, human.
Straight, yeah.
Yeah.
They straighten up. What do you...
The man in front is olive-toned, and he's the most beautiful. That's the only description the book gives of Laurent. So
he's not black in the book.
they'd say olive-toned.
Olive-toned.
Which is what Katniss is also described as, a little bit more of a Mediterranean look.
Okay.
So they don't describe him directly as black or African American, or, well, I guess from his age, it would be directly from Africa.
Yeah. So, isn't the thing with the vampirism that
it makes you pale as shit.
It takes all of your color, literally, like it devours the melanin?
I haven't read that yet.
Okay.
But that was your understanding of it thus far.
Yeah. But he couldn't be olive tone. If that's how it is. Mm-hmm. Right?
I haven't read that far. But I know what your issue is that in the movies, Laurent is played by a person of color, a black person. And he's probably one of the only people of color in the whole book. And Laurent in the book is described as olive-toned. But if the way that we think vampirism works in this is that it would take away all of your color, he could have started as a black person.
Yes.
And ended up looking olive-toned. But I don't know. They don't go into that.
The issue is not that he is a black person in the book.
No.
It's that they
strip him of color.
They strip people of color.
Yeah.
Literally. To become the
pale, pretty vampires. The
good vampire.
Yeah.
And the only person remotely of color is a villain.
Yeah. And something else, too, is specifically with Mormonism, until about the 1980s, they had they still don't have a great view. As a whole.
No.
Individuals, I'm sure, have differing opinions, but Mormonism, the Church of the Latter-day Saints as a whole, has a not great view on people of color.
And not great history with people of color.
Yeah, like bad. I don't want to get into it because it'll make me really upset. But I think that is something to consider when reading this and thinking about how she portrayed the Native Americans, how she portrays other people of color in her book.
I mean, she does a stereotypical, native wild thing with the Native Americans in this book. Which, again, this tribe is a real tribe made up of real people that she's stereotyping. Yeah. It's not, it is bad when people do it to a fake group. Yeah. But I feel like it's even worse when it's, almost targeted. Yeah. You are the people in this book that are acting this way.
Mm-hmm. And we discussed it last time that we would feel, or the time before that, I can't remember, that our solution to her being bad with the Native American and the indigenous tribes would be, ideally, she would have worked with the indigenous people.
Yeah,
get their
hire
input.
An historian.
Get the input of the people she's going to be writing about. Take away less stereotypes. Yeah. So that's
Make them real characters.
Yeah, they're real people. Jake's not the only one.
Yeah, I feel like besides Jacob and the dad, the guy in the wheelchair, Billy, is he his dad?
In the movie, yeah. And in the book.
Okay. Billy, his Jacob's dad. Okay.
Yes, Billy Black.
Besides those two characters, they're the plot bystanders and filler.
Yeah. They'll become more in New Moon and Eclipse. But
the issue is that they made all these vampires individual real... Wait, sorry. Steph made all these vampires individual flushed out characters.
Yeah, they each have their own backstory, their own personalities, but the Native American tribe is
get
all in
three
one.
sentences.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they're basically all the same.
They've all got the same personality, so... Anything else you want to say before we finish up chapter 18?
Can we be done?
No. We gotta finish up chapter 18 at the very least, because the last chapter of this book is long.
Oof.
So, like I said, Laurent is olive-toned and very beautiful. The woman has crazy eyes, and the other male is a nondescript male. And their names are Laurent, Victoria, and James. They ask if they can play. Carlisle has, great people skills. He's like, actually, we were just leaving, but would you like to come home with us? We'd be happy to gab back there. And Laurent seems very interested because they're like, you have a home? Vampires aren't used to having a permanent residence. But then the wind blows, and Bella's hair, of course, gets her scent everywhere, and James, like, they know it. And he gets in, like, some very aggressive predator stance. Laurent is very confused, but not aggressive.
Holy shit, look at that stance.
And James is, like, gonna kill her. But Edward, Alice, and Emmett, like, they're all going crazy. Emmett, Alice, and Edward take Bella back to the car while the others run, like, Laurent, James, and them back to the house.
Yeah.
Edward is, like, I hate this. Edward is super aggressive in this part. He, like, flings Bella in the backseat of the car, orders Emmett to strap her in.
Cool.
No one will talk to her or answer his questions. He's going 105 miles per hour.
Love it. Jeeps can't go that fast. as a previous Jeep owner, a modified Jeep doesn't go that fast.
No, especially not off-road.
I think I hit 80.
Maximum.
Max? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
With everything on it, so it wasn't like the wind, we were getting more. Anyways.
Yeah.
She's like struggling to take the straps off. She's like, Edward, stop. Edward, stop it. And Edward's like, Emmett, grab her hands. And Emmett does and grabs her and holds her. And it's like fucking iron blocks on her hand.
Cool.
Like, she's like, you need to take me back to Charlie. She's like, what if they call the FBI? And she's worried about how if Bella disappears, because what they're doing right now is they're going to take Bella away. Bella is worried that if they take her away, the town will know it was the Cullens and call the FBI on them. She's not upset with the way he is treating her at this moment.
What? She just has the worst priorities
She
in
really
every
does.
point of this book.
Yeah. So then Alice eventually tries to calm Edward down, and Edward's like, you're not understanding. He was a tracker. He's never going to stop. He's going to begin the hunt tonight, and his absolute passion is tracking, and he will be non-stop until he kills Bella. And Bella realizes this means...
I almost asked why. How and why does he know that? And then I was like, oh yeah.
He can read brains. Bella then realizes this means the trail will lead back to Charlie, which sets her into an absolute frenzy that, of course, is ignored.
Well, she is woman, so...
Yeah, right? Well, worried about your dad? Good try. Alice and Emmett are trying to be reasonable, and Edward's like, I saw, he's not going to break the hunt. They'll have to kill him. And Alice says there's another option, but Edward cuts her off, doesn't let her keep going. And Bella's like, I have an idea, but nobody's listening to her.
Shut up, you're a woman now.
And then she starts talking, and she's like, take me back. She just starts going, like, while everybody's throwing a fit. She's like, take me back. I'm going to tell Charlie I'm leaving. Then the tracker will go with her, leaving Charlie alone. And Emmett's like, hey, it's actually a really good idea.
Whoa, women have good idea.
And Edward's like clenching his teeth. He's like, fine, but you will leave tonight. You're going to have to tell Charlie you can't stand forks. You have 15 minutes in the house before we're out. Cool. And it ended, they like kind of talk, and Edward's like, I'm staying with you. And she's like, that's dumb because he'll know you'll be with me the whole time. Like, basically, the decision is that Alice and Jasper are going to stay with Bella. So, I know we're a little over our time, but this next chapter is not that long, and I think we should finish it up.
Do we have to?
Yes.
Because we're over time.
No, babe, it's the sad one, really. I think we should finish it.
No, we'll do it next time.
Oh, I don't want to start on this one. I really don't.
Okay, fine.
Chapter 19.
I hate this book. It gets me so riled.
Prepare your eyeballs for crying or poking out, whichever happens first.
Poking out. I already did it.
So Bella goes home, and she knows that she's going to have to break Charlie's heart. She's pretending that Edward and her fought and that she's leaving because she's getting too close to him, and she doesn't want to turn in, like, she doesn't want to make the same mistakes her mother did, and she's telling this to Charlie.
Cool.
Who, again, Charlie never got over Renee leaving.
Just emotionally abuse your father.
Yeah, so she's doing the same types of things that her mother did when she left Charlie, which, how inappropriate is it that Renee even told Bella this? To the point where Bella can reenact the leaving so closely that she knows she can absolutely destroy Charlie.
Yeah.
So Charlie's distraught. He just wants to help his daughter. He's like, you can't leave. He's like, just wait a week. Your mom will be back in Phoenix then. And, she's ignoring him. She's packing. And then as he's leaving out the door, she says the exact same words her mother said as she left 17 years earlier. And she goes, just let me go, Charlie. It didn't work out okay. I really hate forks. Those are the same exact words her mother said while taking Charlie and her's baby away from Charlie.
Fuck them up.
For 17 years.
Fuck them up, I guess.
That pisses me off and makes me so sad.
How do you come back after that?
How do you ever have a relationship again?
I guess it's like the, he wants her back. That's the only reason. Like
and he's a good dad.
Yeah.
He's a great... You never see good dads in books. I can tell you that. Yeah. And it just makes me really fucking upset that that's the situation that had to happen. So they leave. Edward confirms that the tracker heard the bit of the performance. And Edward tries to joke about the performance to lighten the mood, but she's like, don't even joke about that. Like, I just destroyed my dad. Like, now's not the time. She asks Edward why James decided to kill her, and Edward says that it was his fault. When Edward kind of got into like a little bit more like a aggressive pose to defend Bella, James was like,
stance.
James was like, fuck yeah, this is it. So they'll have to kill him by ripping him into little bits and then lighting them on fire. They get to the house and Laurent is there. And he's saying, like, James is actually the leader of the group. He wants to apologize for James' behavior. And he's going to actually head up to Denali to learn more about their way of life and avoid the crazy situation that's going on.
Cool.
Esme and her change clothes, and they make another comment that they're too big on Bella, which I'm going to hope means height-wise because Bella is only 5'4". They then all go their separate ways, with Bella, Jasper, and Alice going south. Edward reassures Bella that she's worth it, but she doesn't believe it. And then Alice asks permission to pick her up, and Bella smiles and says, "You're the first one who has asked me that."
Gross.
And then that's it. What do you think, Justin?
It's so bad. It's so bad. It has so many issues to it. It's like the thing with... I hate to bring it back to that, but the thing with the people of color is like... Mm-hmm. It kind of pisses me off when authors are just like add POCs into their movies.
Yeah.
As like, oh, actually, this character was black the whole time.
Yeah, like a lot of what J.K. Rowling did.
Yeah, it's like you're adding...
you're adding mythos you didn't actually come up with.
Yeah, it's your PR team that's like, hey, there is only white people here.
Yeah. Are we, like, we know that's not good. Like, yeah. And again, this book was made 3 years before the movie. So it wasn't like there was a lot of times are changing.
No.
Except for Obama was elected in 2008.
Oh,
is all I'll say. Well, folks, thank you so much for listening to our Twilight episode part 3. This is actually episode 11, Justin. How's it feel to be in double digits, baby?
Yeah, double digits, baby.
Woo! Follow us on Twitter, Reading Hostage. Subscribe and follow us on YouTube at Reading Held Hostage. Shoot us over an email. Let us know what you want us to read. Do not say Harry Potter. I'm not reading Harry Potter. At readingheldhostage@gmail.com. Follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Leave us a review.
Oh, no ones. Mm-mm. No twos. No threes.
Don't give me a 3.
No 4s.
I don't want to see any 4s.
We take 5s and 0s.
Them's the rules, y'all. We don't make them. We just follow them.
Yep.
Sorry. Justin, is there anything you want to say right at the end here?
Can we be done?
Yes, we really can. My name's Blue, and I love to read.
And my name's Justin. I hate this.
I'll catch y'all next week.